Welcome to Literary AF Podcast.
Hello, you're listening to Literary AF Podcast. My name is Danny.
I'm Arlene.
And today we're talking about books.
Yep.
Once again. Big surprise. Books.
Yes.
What are we talking about today?
Contemporary romances. 2 of them. One of them...
Oh yeah, I guess yours is a contemporary. Yeah.
The very rare unicorn contemporary romance book that I read.
You don't read a lot of contemporary romance.
I don't. I was thinking about this actually before I came over to record this.
Yeah.
And it's not that I have anything against contemporary romances. I think they're fine. Everyone I've read, I've really liked. It's just when I'm looking to read a book, I really want to be taken out of the world. I want to read something that's different from normal. So when I'm reading a contemporary romance, that doesn't always happen for me. So I think that's why I just don't pick them up. I will read them if they're recommended to me or if I really like the sound of them.
I've bought you a couple of them, and you have not read them.
Yes, that is true. No, you have bought. Wait, no, you have. I falter there because Danny has recommended some contemporary romances that I have read, but yes, I still have one of the Cole McCade books that you bought me.
Yes.
And then I have Galaxies and Oceans.
Yes.
Which I have not yet read either,
No, I think I didn't get you Lost and Found, did I?
No.
Okay.
No. I both read and purchased myself over and over again, and his Cocky Valet, who are also by Cole McCade.
Which I also basically forced down your throat.
You did, but then I bought them and read them, and I really liked them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is a case where I like some contemporary romance, or I just like Cole McCade.
Yeah. Maybe you should read some of the other books that I bought you, and you can find out.
Yes,
yeah?
I will. But
right.
Instead of reading any of those books, I read a totally different book.
Yeah.
And you who read a lot of contemporary romance books.
I don't even, though.
Really?
Comparatively to the other genres that I read, I haven't read a ton of contemporary romance books. I've just read more than you.
Well, yes. Yes, I guess...
It's not hard to read more than 2 contemporary romance books.
I guess in my head, too, I'm counting some paranormal romances as kind of...
Those are not contemporary.
But what if they're in a contemporary setting? Like, for example...
Urban fantasy.
But last week, you talked about Halloween Boo.
Yes.
And isn't that a contemporary romance?
I would
but
say
also
that's...
paranormal?
No. I wouldn't say that... contemporary is not paranormal. I think by having a ghost in it, that takes it out of contemporary, puts it into supernatural fantasy.
Okay, alright. So maybe that's also, too, where I'm... Because to me, I personally, when picking up that book, would be like, no, that's too contemporary for me, maybe. Well, and that's not saying that I think ghost, boyfriend, girlfriend, any kind of friend type of books are... Anyways, the point is... You read more contemporary than me no matter what.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, what did you read?
Oh,
this week?
Right. I read Xeni by Rebekah Weatherspoon.
Okay.
Which, I actually talked about the first book in this series, Rafe.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this in one of the earlier episodes this year. I remember I really liked it. Like I said, lots of good things about it.
Yep.
And this is more of that. This book was actually really good.
I remember... Okay, I didn't read Rafe, but I remember this book because you linked me the Twitter thread where Rebekah was asking for photo references of some big, beefy man. Yeah. And there were a bunch of pictures of the guy who played the mountain from Game of Thrones.
I actually mentioned that in my review. Mason, the hero of this book.
What a good name.
Mason McInroy.
Nice.
He's a Scottish giant.
Oh.
He is, physically, I guess, like the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Hitting all the buttons.
Huge. And I love it. It's so good.
Yes.
that's immediately was like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah,
I'm in.
I have to say, I would also be in at that point. But anyways, go on.
So Rafe and Xeni appears as like a side character in Rafe, and she's pretty cool. I really liked her. And then right at the end of Rafe, it ends with Sloane getting a text message from her being like, "Hey, what's up? I got married," just completely out of the blue, and then it kind of ends.
Okay.
And I was like, I need this right now. I want this book so badly. And then like.
This is the How I Got Married story?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Within, like, a couple weeks, Rebekah was posting on Twitter about her inspo for Mason, and I'm like, oh, this can't get any better. And it lived up to all of my expectations, basically. Which is great.
I remember you really liked Rafe, too, so...
I did.
I imagine those were high expectations.
Rafe was... So, I would say, like, Rafe was, like, top tier.
Oh, okay.
Mason is like S rank.
Wow.
Yeah.
First, I did not realize that you liked Rafe that much.
Rafe was fantastic. Rafe, just as a character, is great. The book, also really, really great.
Okay.
It's just... It's contemporary. It's a short read. It's very fluffy.
Okay.
It's really light, so, you know, you're feeling kind of crappy. You want to feel a little better, have a good time. You read Rafe, read Xeni. Like, they're super chill. They're nice, yeah.
I have to ask then, just before we get into actually, the meat of Xeni, who else is S rank?
Imri from Over and Over Again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just talking in terms of the actual characters themselves.
Yeah, not the books, just the characters.
Imri, Over and Over Again.
Oh, yeah.
Wentworth from Persuasion.
Okay.
Lothair.
Of
Definitely.
course. Obviously.
Lothair demands the top spot.
I don't think he can be anything but S rank. I'm just looking at his face on your hardcover book.
My hardcover signed copy of Lothair.
Displayed in your office. Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. So at least we have an idea of Davy's type.
Yeah.
But good. Okay, so...
My type, yeah. My type is very not specific. It's very broad.
Yes.
But
I also, Well, we should talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Is like get like the types and let's give our top 5. But anyway.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Yes.
Like top 5 heroines.
Absolutely.
And yeah, definitely.
But back to Xeni.
We'll do that later. Right now we're talking about Xeni and
S
Mason.
rank.
Mason S rank for sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
So this book actually opens with Xeni's aunt has died. Her Aunt Sable has died. And she's flown out to New York, and she's dealing with the funeral. She has to deal with packing up the house and settling all of her accounts and things like that. And when she gets out there, it starts off with her, like, right at the funeral. And there is a very large man there playing the bagpipes.
Okay.
And I think one of the songs he ends up playing is, like, Another One Bites the Dust.
Nice.
Per her aunt's request at the funeral.
I was going to say a little bit inappropriate,
no,
but okay.
And I remember that's, like, I was, like, the funerals and death are a really sore spot for me.
Yeah.
So I was upset at the beginning of this book.
Right.
And then that happened, and it was a good amount of humor to offset just, like, how sad you are at the beginning of this book.
Also, just imagining Another One Bites the Dust being played on
bagpipes. It was in a medley of songs, and Another One Bites the Dust was in there being played on these bagpipes. It's good.
It's great.
Yeah. So they do this funeral, and then she goes to meet with the lawyers, and she's there, and then this giant man shows up again.
Giant bagpipe man.
Giant bagpipe man, Mason.
The mountain that plays.
Yeah. And the lawyer basically hands over some letters that her aunt had written before she died. And Xeni's basically says, here's $23 million and my house in Martha's Vineyard. And the condition is that you have to marry Mason.
Oh.
And by the way, you're my daughter.
Oh.
And Xeni is like,
shook?
What the hell just happened?
Wow.
She absolutely shook. Whereas Mason's letter, because he got one too, basically just says, like, take care of her. And that's it.
That's pretty wild, but I'm just going to pause and say, where's my Aunt Sable?
I know. I would marry whoever you wanted for $23 million.
Right?
Wow.
Whew. Anyways.
And yeah, so the condition is that they have to get married for both of them to receive their money. She has millions of dollars, and I think he gets like $300,000 or something for this exchange. And they're like, well, okay, yes.
Yeah.
We'll do this. We'll get married. We'll divorce in a month, because they have to stay married for the month.
Okay.
And they do. They go through with it. Like, they get married like 3 days later. Oh, and they have like actually a nice wedding. They didn't just like go down to the courthouse and sign the thing. They actually like went to Mason's family's farm, or I guess he's staying with his cousin or something.
Okay.
There's actually a lot of characters in these books that are characters from other books that Rebekah Weatherspoon has written.
Okay.
Like Mason was just a side character from I think like Sanctuary or Haven. Like that's another series of books.
Okay.
And Xeni was a side character from Rafe. And this actual series itself is called Loose Ends.
Okay.
So I think it's just like a mishmash of characters from all the other books coming together, which is kind of cool.
I'm just gonna interject and say I didn't realize when I first started reading romance how many authors really do that.
All of them do.
It's cool.
Yeah.
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 I really like that.
Yeah.
It's not a thing I have seen in any other genre, really. Where, like, if you're writing a series, it's like that series of books. But in this, it's yes, it's a series, but it's the characters more than the plot that carries.
Yeah.
Not in all cases, of course.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cute.
Yeah. So they get married, and then it's kind of like a, oh, well, we're married, we may as well just sleep together kind of thing.
Nice.
And they do, and I guess they're actually, it's not like, there's never a point where it's like, I shouldn't be feeling these feelings, or, you know, there's no, like, conflict like that. They're just like, I guess I might like my husband a little more than I intended. It's never...
It's like we'll give this a chance, and oh, this is way more of a chance, and oh, this is actually really good.
Yeah. Whereas, like, the same thing happened in Rafe. A lot of romances have, like, we kissed, but we really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, we're fake married, but we really shouldn't be together because this or that, or,
yeah.
you know, it feels forced a lot of the time, whereas I've found with Rafe and with Xeni, they just, it happens and they go along with it.
Yeah.
There's no, like, conflict between them. She's like, oh, you know, I kind of really like this guy. I'm going to keep sleeping with him. And he's like, I'm actually really into this chick. I'm going to keep sleeping with her if she wants me to.
Yeah.
And it's nice. You know, it's chill.
No real, I guess, conflict, question mark?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's actual, like, you know, like, actual conflict in the book anywhere, if it's more, like you said, just
there is conflict, but it's outside the relationship.
Okay, yeah.
So there's some stuff happening with each of their families. Obviously, Xeni's family is exploding because she found out that her mom's not her mom, and her aunt was actually her mom.
Right, yeah.
And her aunt and her not biological mom, the mother who raised her, they were butting heads and weren't talking anymore. So there's a lot of fighting going on over there.
Okay.
And Mason's got fighting going on with his family, and he's got a whole drama thing happening over there.
I have to ask,
Yep.
Why does Aunt Sable want them to be married?
Because Mason and her were really close, and she was really close with Xeni as well.
Oh.
So she was playing matchmaker from Beyond the Grave, basically.
Yes.
She's like, I got this daughter / niece, and I got my friend Mason here, and they should just bang it out. And then they do, and it works. Thanks, Aunt Sable.
Thanks, Auntie Mom.
And
no, that's cute.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was never like, I guess a lot of like marriage of convenience stuff starts out as like an enemies, or, you know, like they don't like each other kind of thing. But they both went into it like, yeah, okay, we'll just do this, and, you know, okay, we'll kiss, and then, okay, well, I guess we'll bang it out on our wedding night. Yeah.
I also think a common theme with marriage of convenience, or we'll say not necessarily like willing marriages, is that one or both parties are not interested in this at all.
Yeah.
Whether they have someone else already, or they're just like, no, I'm not marrying this rando.
Yeah.
That's not happening. Versus, like you said, where it's here, where they're both like, okay.
They went into it with open minds.
Yeah.
And they kissed when they went up and got married, and then they had a wedding night, and then they ended up spending like the next week together. Like, they're just...
And I mean, they could have phoned it in, too.
Yeah.
They could have gone to the Justice of the Peace and just been like, okay, see you in a month to collect our money.
Yeah.
Bye.
That was, like, the original plan, and then, I can't remember if it was, I think it was Xeni was just like, well, you know, we're doing it anyway, why don't we just try it out? And it worked, so.
No.
I really like that.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see what you mean about it being a very, like, feel-good story.
Yeah.
Where if you just want some fluff, really, just something to enjoy and just not worry.
I wouldn't call it a novella. I'd say it's a novel, but it's a shorter novel.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
But it's not novella short.
No. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Also, Xeni and Mason are both bi.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
That bi representation.
But lots of bi rep, yep.
Yay.
He's a large Scottish man who plays the bagpipes.
Hell yeah.
They get up to some kinky stuff.
Nice.
Which was a surprise, but it was real good.
Does it involve the bagpipes?
No.
Okay, that's good.
The bagpipes are not involved.
I was gonna have a weird time imagining some pretty weird stuff if they were.
Yeah.
So,
No, they go places.
Okay.
That was
okay.
refreshing.
Alright.
Yeah.
I have to admit that even just the physical description of Mason is enough for me to be like, maybe. Oh. Danny just made a very obscene hand gesture.
And I want to say it out loud, but
I'm suddenly so interested.
Yes.
Well.
Read it for yourself. You'll find out.
Excellent.
There is conflict and stuff in the story, but like I said, it's outside of Rafe or Mason and Xeni. Same thing in Rafe. Anyways, even though he's on the mind. They had their relationship got together and it was always solid.
Okay.
And then there was conflict outside of the relationship. So same thing happens here, which is very lighthearted. I wouldn't say it's like rom-com, but it's good and fluff.
Lighthearted romance.
It's fluff.
Cool.
Also, look at this cover. This cover is just beautiful.
Yes, it is really nice.
So nice.
It
I
is
love
really nice.
I love the like poppy blue pink going on. Great.
Check out the
Fantastic.
cover.
Yeah.
We'll link it
Look
on the
at
episode.
the cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just take a quick look at my review. I think I talked about just about everything. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
Oh.
So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, like, as I mentioned, I don't do a lot of contemporary romance reading, but what I am into is retellings of old romances, particularly old romances that I have not read before either.
You lose the purpose of a retelling when you don't know the source material.
Yes. I did it once with Emma. I'm doing it again with Persuasion.
Well, I mean, have you seen Clueless?
Yes.
That's Emma.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
I had
Clueless
no
is
idea.
a modern day retelling of Emma.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Nope. I mean, it's been a million years since I've seen Clueless. I saw it maybe a year after it came out. I'm old. Don't judge me.
Not everybody does Jane Austen themed movie marathons like yearly like I do, and I forget that.
I guess not. I have never actually read a Jane Austen novel. The exposure to Jane Austen that I have had was through you and through the things that I have watched with you. And so the first time I read a retelling of a Jane Austen novel, I thought, okay, this is kind of cute. I see why people are into this. And then I saw Undue Influence, which is a Persuasion retelling by Jenny Holiday. And it is a male-male romance story. And so already it's kind of hitting my buttons. But this is where I'm gonna need your help because I have never read Persuasion.
Yeah.
I think we
probably watched one or both of them.
Yes, I think we did. So, but I can barely remember it now. So I have no idea where these overlap or how well they overlap.
Perhaps if you listened to the Persuasion episode from a couple weeks ago.
I am behind on listening to the episodes that I am not in. I'm admitting that publicly. I will fix that.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I should have listened to that podcast before coming in with this book. But we're gonna move right through that.
Yeah, sure.
So, but yeah, tell me how this sounds. So,
Okay.
the main character of the story, his name is Adam. And Adam is the son of, I guess, a reasonably wealthy family, or at some point they were reasonably wealthy, but his father died. His mother and his sister have been running their vineyard.
Okay.
And have run it into the ground.
That's the first one, is that in Persuasion, their mother has died.
Ah.
And his father and eldest sister. Her father and eldest sister have basically spent all the money.
Yeah. Well, that's essentially what happened here. Adam is kind of a guy who really likes to keep to himself. So he was, while they had a vineyard and it was something that he really wanted to be involved in, his father never really let him take part in the business. Mm-hmm. And so as a result, once all the money was gone, they're forced to sell the vineyard.
Right.
Adam lives in an RV on the vineyard property. So he's not really getting kicked out of his house so much as he is getting removed from his home.
Right.
And he works in a small town as a mechanic. And he, I guess, apprenticed, you could call it, under a man named Rusty, who is a drag queen mechanic in the community's, I guess, only gay bar.
All right.
Rusty is really kind of rough around the edges type character, but he feels like he's really trying to keep Adam under his wing this whole time, whether it's by telling him what he should do with his life, that he should be going to school. Why are you staying in this podunk little town instead of getting out? No, you shouldn't be with that hooligan, there we go, named Freddie Wentworth.
So in the original Persuasion, it was Lady Russell.
Ah, okay. Who's Lady Russell?
She is, like, one of Anne Elliot's mother's friends.
Okay.
Who has become, like, a mentor to Anne.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's been, like,
guiding her life, bossing her around.
Don't marry that man named Frederick Wentworth.
Yeah. So, okay, well, that's lining up pretty good.
Close. It's mostly just seems to be, like, gender swapped.
Yeah. Really. Freddie he lived in the town for a while, but after a short and intensely loving relationship with Adam, he left town and moved to New York and became a big celebrity chef with one of his close friends named Ben Captain. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many of these names are actually significant to the original books. So he gets a text one day from his sister, who has bought the vineyard that Adam's family owned. And she wants him to come down and, I guess, help her. I really can't remember why he ends up going back to that town with his sister. I think it is just to help her get settled and get things taken care of as they're transferring ownership. And it also becomes a thing where it rekindles an old romance. Right. Where both of them are really kind of in weird places emotionally. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially Adam, because he's been displaced now. Instead of living in an RV in the back of his beautiful vineyard in, like, the forest with his little dog named Mr. Collins.
What?
He has a yappy little dog named Mr. Collins.
That is crossing the streams in a way that's not allowed.
That one's good.
Oh, no.
I appreciated that one, at least. That one I got. So, but he's now living in an RV somewhere else. I don't know, he chooses to live in an RV, which is a little strange for someone who has a lot of money.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah. But he mainly likes, I assume, the independence. And he seems very much like a person who's really into himself. Like, he spends a lot of time just in his own head, kind of does his own thing. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense for the character. But Freddie comes back, and it's so hard for them both, because they're both in a place where neither of them wanted to end the relationship, but Rusty, who at the time kind of had his thumb on Adam really hard, sort of made the decision for them. Freddie was known around town as being a bit of a playboy. He got caught doing some stuff out behind a building with another guy, got outed in this small town, and so everybody kind of just saw him as a troublemaker and a runaround. And so Rusty's opinion of him was very poor. And Adam's family told Freddie, hey, get out of here. You shouldn't be around my son. You're a bad influence. Rusty told him the same thing, and Adam, being, we'll say a little too cowardly, I guess, just basically ended it.
Okay. Well,
No, I'm sorry. Freddie made him choose. Freddie made him choose, hey, are you gonna listen to what they're saying, or let's actually have a relationship and be together?
So in Persuasion, they were together and they were betrothed.
Yeah.
And Lady Russell convinced Anne that Frederick Wentworth was not worth her time because he had no money. And he had a career in the military and he wasn't going to be getting any money.
Okay.
And then he earns a lot of money in the military and then he comes back as a naval captain.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit different, but
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, I mean, the restaurant chain is called Captain's, and again, he is a celebrity chef.
Right.
So, he did go off and make something of himself.
Sure.
But predictably, they both still have feelings for one another, and seeing each other again brought those to the surface, and they spend a lot of the book in this awkward kind of, he must not feel the same way I do, he can't possibly feel the same way I do, and I'm really sad, and maybe I should try to move on, but it doesn't happen. And more than once, they're kind of driven together, and I remember very distinctly there being a scene where somebody jumps off of a wall or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that also happens here.
Okay.
Where it's like I am a
Catch me, Wentworth!
I'm a pretty lady, and I am flirting with Freddie because he doesn't seem interested in his ex anymore, and he's really rich, and he's really famous, and I'm super into it, yes, and I'm gonna jump off of this boat dock. Catch me!
Catch me!
And she
and
knocks herself out.
cracks her head on the ground and knocks herself out.
So that lines up as well.
As they do.
Yeah. So, I mean, this one was, I thought, very sweet in a lot of ways. The way the awkwardness between them played out, it felt natural, and the dialogue between the characters in this book, it flowed very well.
Yeah.
So, all in all, it was a pleasant experience. But, I mean, again, I think I would have gotten more out of it had I actually read the source material.
You should probably read the source material.
And I'll probably like it even more.
I've talked about this on the podcast a couple times, but that one's my favorite Austen book.
Is it?
Yeah. Persuasion? Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember you saying that too, but I always thought it was Pride and Prejudice because I'm bad at everything.
No. Persuasion, and then Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Is there a letter at the end of the book?
Oh. I read this at least a week ago, so I'm trying to remember.
At least a week ago is not very long.
There's a text message.
Oh, really?
Not a letter.
Oh.
But it comes after Rusty has asked for Adam to go away with him to the Hamptons because he is rekindling, or rather he is reconnecting with an old friend of his and didn't want to go alone. So at the time, Freddie is still in town helping his sister, and Adam is really not keen on leaving because at this point he and Freddie have had some encounters where he's really kind of getting the idea that Freddie might not be done here, and he knows for sure he isn't either. So he doesn't want to go, but Rusty, yet again, ends up convincing him. And they go off to the Hamptons, where his mother and sister are also staying, and they introduce Adam to this...
Dalrymple?
Okay.
Is it?
Sure, it's not his name.
Oh.
No, it is not his name. I actually don't remember his name, but he is a very rich owner of a different winery vineyard.
Yeah. In Persuasion, they have very rich family called the Dalrymples.
It's a terrible name.
I know it is. I hate it so much.
Oh, that's so awful. But he starts, I don't want to say courting, because it's not really courting, but he's after Adam, and Adam is not feeling it. And the guy is getting increasingly more irritated with the fact that Adam won't do anything more than just kiss him.
Right.
And he has been making things a little bit miserable. Freddie, who is in the process of realizing he's still so deeply in love with Adam, comes to the Hamptons to find him, sees them together, freaks out. Adam, later on, also freaks out, dumps this guy, who we find out then is married.
Yeah. Right.
And so, yeah, kind of freeing him up to reconcile, we'll say.
In Persuasion, that was their cousin, Mr. Elliot.
No.
And he was carrying on an affair with one of her sister's friends who was trying to marry their father.
Ah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds a little wilder.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Yeah. Well, Adam, at that point, after he's done dumping... I should remember his name, but I don't. He goes and is extremely sad, jumps in his car, picks up his phone, and Freddie has sent him
this is terrible.
Like multi-text.
This is terrible.
Kind of, I still love you.
I'm sorry, but he could have sent an email just fine.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, wouldn't he still just get it on his phone?
Yeah,
he doesn't
but
have a
there's
computer.
something just like I send you 20 text messages confessing my love to you.
It wasn't 20. Hang on 1 second. How many was it?
There's no beating Wentworth's letter in
no.
the original Pride and Prejudice. Or, Persuasion. Excuse me.
It's 10. Nope. 10. Yeah, it's 10. It's 10.
He could have sent a single email.
He could have. It was pretty long.
And imagine, like, phones are kind of really shitty when it comes to sending long chunks of messages in concise order.
I agree.
I've had problems where, like, the third message comes up first, and then the first message is, like, way at the bottom, and then it doesn't send the other one, and that has the potential to go bad.
So your beautiful, poignant love message is
it's just, like, a jumbled mess.
Yeah, and you have to be like, wait a minute, no, that other one should come before then, and no.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a little bit more meaningful had he even, like, just showed up at his place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The place he was staying. But no, he sent him a text.
No.
But they do at least hook back up at that point. And from there on, it's all...
Can you, like, read their text messages?
Yes.
Yeah. Alright.
So it is pretty... I had it open. It is pretty short here.
Alright.
But the letter is, like, the first text message opens up with, I need to talk to you, which historically is not the best way to open a text chain. But it says, I need to talk to you. I don't know if this feeling inside me is hope or despair. It's all mixed up. I hope this isn't too late. I'm just going to say this. As hard as it is, I want you back. I told everyone I came to the Hamptons because I was thinking of opening a restaurant here, but it was a lie. I came here because you were here. I can hardly type. I've never loved anyone but you. I've been so angry at you, so hurt, but I've always loved you. I still love you. To which Adam responds, I love you too. There's never been anyone else for me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I threw away so many years. And that's really it. It kind of... Yeah, I don't think it really can compare. And now... Oh, good. I'm glad that you have this letter here.
I've pulled the letter up here.
All right, go for it.
I think I read this actually on our Persuasion podcast, but I'm going to read it again for you. I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are within my reach. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. Tell me not that I am too late, that such precious feelings are gone forever. I offer myself to you again with a heart even more your own than when you almost broke it, 8.5 years ago. Dare not say that a man forgets sooner than a woman, that his love has an earlier death. I have loved none but you. Unjust I may have been, weak and resentful I have been, but never inconstant. You alone have brought me to Bath. For you alone I think and plan. Have you not seen this? Can you fail to understand my wishes? I had not waited even these 10 days, could I read your feelings, as I think you have penetrated mine. I can hardly write. I am every instant hearing something which overpowers me. You sink your voice, but I can distinguish the tones of that voice when they would be lost on others. Too good, too excellent creature, you do us justice indeed. You do believe that there is true attachment and constancy among men. Believe it to me most fervent, most undeviating. And then he signs his initials.
Right.
I must go, uncertain of my fate, but I shall return hither, or follow your party as soon as possible. A word, a look, will be enough to decide whether I enter your father's house this evening, or never. So, that's a way better letter.
That's a little bit more intense, no matter what.
Yeah, the text message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The response, I still love you too, just kills me. Oh, yeah.
Same.
Yeah, same.
Kate.
Oh,
what if you just said Kate?
No.
Oh no.
A true modern romance. Hoo boy. Well, yeah. Alright, well, I mean, Jane Austen, I think you got it over this one.
Yeah.
At least with that last letter. Overall, I really liked the book.
Yeah.
It leads me to believe that I would also really like
You should definitely just read Persuasion.
I know I need to. I think ever since I read Dorian Gray, I've kind of had this, oh no.
No,
maybe
see,
I should just read classic
you
word.
know that I loathe Dorian Gray.
I know.
So much.
I know.
I've read Persuasion this year. I've read Pride and Prejudice this year. I read Sense and Sensibility last year. That should say something about the ability to read these books compared to reading Dorian Gray.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes, I at least understand that I should not take Dorian Gray as the representation of all classic lit.
Don't even get me started on Dorian Gray. That's staying in the past where it belongs.
Yeah, I'm not ready for a heavy read. So if they're not heavy, then yeah, I do see myself reading those eventually. My mother owns a very pretty hardcover of 4 or 5 Jane Austen novels. Yeah. Like it's thick.
I have one right here holding up my monitor.
Nice.
I have another like hardcover one with like gold spine on it.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have just like individual paper copies of a couple of them just scattered around the house.
I know I have Pride and Prejudice as a paper copy. Yeah. Like it's sitting on my desk right now.
You can go to any bookstore and pick it up for like $5. You can get free copies of these on Amazon. Oh. Like ebook stuff because they're past their copyright date. So people just put them out now whenever.
Oh,
so.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Okay, well maybe this will finally be the kick in the butt that I need to actually read some Jane Austen.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the first step was actually getting me to read romance in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think we're past that now. I'm in.
You're over the hump.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm here and I'm staying. So yeah, so we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all in all, I do recommend this one. If you have read Persuasion, I hope you will enjoy it as much as someone who did not.
Yeah.
Danny, I know that you have this book, or it's on your TBR.
I think I actually own it. I own a lot of books that I just don't remember because they're ebooks. It's like they don't really exist, and then I don't feel bad about spending money on them.
That's why I always I one click and then I just sit on it, and then I go and look later, and I'm like, oh, I have 35 books. Yeah. I should read a couple of these.
One click is dangerous.
I know, it's scary.
Oh, man. I'm like, hey, I might buy this. Oh, just click here. Oh, it's done. I've got it now.
Yeah. Amazon should have never given me the ability to spend money without thinking.
Yeah.
Amazon, how could you?
Yes, it's terrible. It's bad.
Book authors, how can you have your books for sale for 99 cents?
I know.
You know what this does to me.
You gotta buy them. It's only 99 cents.
Of course.
What if you want to read it in 2 or 3 years and it's not on sale?
Right? It's less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah. and then you buy 6 of them, and you're like, oh no.
Oops. I went to Starbucks.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's it. We went pretty long runtime today. We got 40 minutes, so that's pretty good. Awesome.
So where can they find us?
We are on Facebook, Literary AF. We are also on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean, Literary AF. The Twitter account for the podcast, LiteraryAFPod, and my Twitter for myself is Danny_reads.
Mine is CatFaceGargoyle, and still definitely looking for any books with the main character named Arlene.
Yes.
I am committed to this. You gotta do it.
Hit up any of those accounts or send us an email at literaryafpod@gmail.com.
Yes,
if you have any recs or just suggestions, comments, whatever.
Yeah.
We're open. Question.